Every morning we wake up, we face two choices: surrender to yesterday or step into the promise of tomorrow. And today, right now, I'm choosing victory. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a quiet moment before every sunrise when the world hasn't quite made up its mind yet. It's a moment full of possibility, full of promise. And in that moment, I tell myself three simple words: I will win. Now, I'm not talking about trophies, applause, or your name printed in bold. Winning isn't about beating someone. It's about becoming someone. It's the decision to show up even when the world says sit down. It's the courage to keep walking when the path gets muddy, messy, and downright inconvenient. See, life has a funny way of testing us. It doesn't knock politely. It barges in, kicks the table over, and asks, all right, how bad do you want it? And every time we have to answer with our actions. Victory isn't a lightning strike. It's a slow burn. It's built in the sweat no one sees, in the choices no one celebrates, in the discipline that doesn't get applause. But here's the truth. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be the smartest. You just have to be committed enough to outlast your excuses. When you wake up tomorrow, tell yourself again, I will win. Say it until your doubt gets confused. Say it until your fear packs its bags. Say it until your reflection starts believing it. Because winning is not an event. It's a lifestyle. It's a posture. It's the unwavering belief that no matter what stands in front of you, you're built to rise above it. So go out there, show the world what happens when determination puts its boots on. Stand tall, lean forward, take the next step. You will win, and the world will be better because you did. Winning is about becoming, not beating. When most people hear the word win, they picture a scoreboard, a finish line, a comparison. They imagine someone else losing so they can stand taller. But real winning works from the inside out. It isn't about outrunning another person. It's about outrunning the version of yourself that stayed comfortable, afraid, or unsure. It's a quiet kind of victory, the type that doesn't require an audience because the change is happening beneath the surface. Becoming is a journey that doesn't always look glamorous from the outside, yet it's the only kind of winning that can't be taken away from you. When you focus on becoming, the game shifts. You stop wasting energy sizing up someone else's progress, and you start tuning into your own. You begin to notice the small choices you make every day, whether you show up prepared, whether you push past your hesitation, whether you honor your own standards when no one is watching. These choices become the bricks that build your future self. They shape your character in a way no trophy ever could. You realize that the person you're becoming is far more important than the person you're trying to impress. True winning doesn't rely on external validation. You could place first and still feel empty if you haven't grown. On the other hand, you can stumble, struggle, even fail publicly, yet still walk away victorious because you became wiser, stronger, more grounded. When you treat each challenge as a lesson rather than a threat, every experience adds to your evolution. You learn to see setbacks not as proof that you're losing, but as opportunities to advance your understanding of yourself. Becoming demands honesty. It requires you to look at your weaknesses without excuses and your strengths without arrogance. It asks you to recognize the parts of yourself that are still under construction and to accept that growth takes time. It also invites you to appreciate where you've already improved, even if no one else has noticed. That internal awareness is the compass that guides personal progress. When you're focused on becoming you, redefine what success looks like. It becomes less about standing on the podium and more about standing solid in your values. It becomes less about applause and more about alignment. Your goals stop being about outperforming others. They become about honoring your potential. You begin to chase depth instead of attention, progress instead of perfection, growth instead of comparison. You also learn to embrace patience. Becoming isn't instant. It's earned through repetition, self-correction, and resilience. It's sculpted through habits, refined through discomfort, and strengthened through persistence. You start to trust the process because you can feel the transformation happening, even if it's slow and subtle. And when you finally look back, the victory becomes clear. You're not the same person you were. Your mindset is sharper, your character is sturdier, and your spirit is steadier. Winning wasn't a single moment. It was every moment you chose growth over ego, purpose over approval, becoming over beating. Victory comes from discipline and consistency, not from flashes of brilliance or sudden waves of luck. Most of the world celebrates the highlight moments, the breakthrough, the applause, the announcement that someone has achieved something big. But those moments are just the visible tips of an invisible mountain built through quiet, repetitive effort. Real winning isn't dramatic. It's steady. It's deliberate. It's the decision to show up even when motivation stays in bed. Discipline becomes the engine that keeps you moving forward when excitement fades and obstacles show up uninvited. Consistency is the companion of discipline. Anyone can work hard once. Anyone can feel inspired for a day. But the ones who rise, the ones who achieve something lasting, are the ones who can return to the grind again and again, long after the initial spark has burned out. Consistency does demand perfection. It demands commitment. It asks you to do the small things correctly, repeatedly, until they become part of who you are. Over time, those small repetitions harden into strength, transforming your abilities, your mindset, and your expectations of yourself. Discipline is often misunderstood as rigidity or punishment. In reality, it's the highest form of self-respect. It's the act of honoring your goals even on the days you don't feel like it. It's choosing long-term payoff over short-term comfort. It's stepping into structure not because someone forced it on you, but because you recognize your future deserves that level of care. Discipline sharpens your focus, cuts away distractions, and keeps you grounded in what matters. It's the internal voice that says, do it anyway, and the steady hand that guides you when temptation tries to pull you off track. To stay consistent, you have to develop an intimate relationship with your own habits. You learn what patterns help you rise and what patterns sabotage your progress. You start paying attention to how you spend your time, how you speak to yourself, and how you react when things don't go according to plan. Consistency thrives on self-awareness. When you understand your tendencies, you can build routines that support your strengths and guard against your weaknesses. This isn't about rigidity, it's about intention. Progress built on discipline and consistency may feel slow at times, but it is the most reliable progress you will ever make. Day by day, you accumulate small wins that start to compound. What used to feel difficult becomes manageable. What once required effort becomes automatic. Slowly, you realize you're no longer forcing yourself to grow. You're simply living in alignment with the person you're becoming. And once discipline becomes part of you, momentum follows. Momentum is the reward for consistency. It's the force that makes rising easier, action smoother, and goals closer. Victory earned this way lasts. It can't be taken by chance or undone by circumstance because it wasn't built on shortcuts. It was built through repetition, resilience, and responsibility. It's the kind of victory that transforms not just your results, but your identity. Through discipline, you become dependable to yourself, and through consistency, you become unstoppable. Challenges are tests of desire, the kind that reveal what you truly want and how deeply you're willing to pursue it. When everything is easy, your intentions never get questioned. Comfort never asks you to prove anything. But the moment life starts pushing back, when the work gets heavy, the deadlines stack up, the uncertainty grows, and the pressure tightens, that's when your goals look you in the eye and ask, are you serious about this? It's in those moments that desire stops being a wish and becomes a commitment. Adversity has a way of stripping away all the pretending. It removes the illusion of wanting something merely because it sounds good or because other people expect it of you. When challenges show up, they force you to confront your real level of hunger. If you're pursuing something for the wrong reasons, difficulty will expose that quickly. But if the desire is genuine, rooted in purpose, passion, or personal truth, difficulty won't drive you away. It'll push you deeper into the fight. You'll keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because the goal is worth the discomfort. Every challenge holds a mirror to your intentions. It's easy to claim ambition when the path is smooth, but the real test arrives when progress slows, when you feel stuck, when you take 3 steps forward only to be shoved 2 steps back. That's when desire becomes measurable. You see what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to learn, and what you're willing to change about yourself to continue moving forward. Challenges force growth by demanding adaptation. They push you to evolve your strategies, your mindset, and your resilience. There's a truth most people avoid. Desire without endurance is just a fantasy. Wanting something isn't enough. You have to want it badly enough to face the obstacles designed to shape you for it. Challenges refine you the way fire refines metal. They burn off the excuses and the hesitation. They force you to prove not only that you want the result, but that you're capable of handling the responsibility that comes with it. Every setback becomes a lesson, every struggle a form of training. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. When you understand this, your relationship with difficulty changes. Instead of shrinking from challenges, you begin to see them as confirmations that you're on the right track. They mean you're building something real. They mean you're stepping into territory where growth is unavoidable. They mean that life is checking to see whether your desire is strong enough to match the size of the dream you're chasing. Your desire becomes clearer, sharper, and more powerful each time you push through something that tried to stop you. And with every obstacle passed, you gain something more important than the goal itself. You gain proof of who you are becoming. Challenges don't just test how much you want something. They reveal the strength you didn't know you had and the resolve you didn't know you could. Trust. Self-belief must be repeated daily until doubt fades and confidence takes root. Confidence isn't built in a single moment of inspiration or a single victory. It's cultivated through constant reinforcement, through the quiet and repetitive choice to trust yourself even when your circumstances haven't caught up yet. Every day bring a new wave of voices, pressures, and comparisons that try to weaken your certainty, which is why self-belief isn't a one-time declaration but a practice. It's a habit you build the same way you build strength, through repetition, consistency, and patience. Each morning you wake up, your mind starts blank and ready to be influenced. If you don't guide it, the world will gladly do it for you. Doubt slides in easily. It doesn't need an invitation. It shows up in your fears, in other people's opinions, in memories of what didn't work out before. Doubt is loud, familiar, and persistent. So self-belief has to be louder. You reinforce it through the words you speak to yourself, the goals you commit to, and the actions you take, even when your nerves try to slow you down. Every time you remind yourself, I can do this, you're not just speaking. You're training your mind to shift its default setting. Repeating belief isn't pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing to stand on your potential instead of your insecurities. It's recognizing that confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to keep going despite it. Every small moment where you push past hesitation, sending the message, taking the step, making the call, showing up early, becomes another thread in the fabric of your inner strength. These seemingly small choices accumulate until they form a new identity, someone who trusts their own judgment, someone who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who believes not because life got easier, but because they got stronger. The mind learns through repetition, and belief is no exception. Just like a muscle, the more you exercise it, the more reliable it becomes. At first, your self-belief might feel fragile, like a whisper competing with a storm. You may have to repeat it dozens of times a day, but slowly it begins to solidify. The whispers grow into conviction. The conviction becomes instinct. Eventually, you start moving differently, speaking differently, choosing differently. You stop asking, can I do this? And begin saying, of course I can. Doubt doesn't disappear overnight. Even the strongest people carry moments of uncertainty. The difference is they don't feed it. They don't surrender to it. They overwhelm it with a steady daily dose of belief. They understand that belief is not a feeling. It's a practice. It's something you recommit to every morning before the world has a chance to shape your thoughts for you. And over time, that repetition changes everything. You start to see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You recognize progress where you used to see failure. You begin to trust future you as much as present you. Confidence stops being a distant dream and becomes a natural state, built brick by brick through the simple, powerful decision to believe in yourself again today, just like you will tomorrow. Winning is a lifestyle, a steady, intentional way of moving through the world rather than a single achievement or moment of celebration. It's not reserved for the days when everything goes right or when you feel unstoppable. It's something you embody, even on the days you feel uncertain, tired, or misunderstood. When winning becomes part of who you are, it shows up in the way you speak to yourself, the decisions you make, the habits you stick to, and the standards you hold. It becomes a daily posture, upright, forward, resilient, long before the results appear. A lifestyle of winning begins with how you carry yourself mentally. It's the inner dialogue that refuses to settle for mediocrity, even when settling seems easier. It's the way you choose progress instead of comfort, intention instead of impulse, discipline instead of distraction. You start to identify as someone who follows through, someone who honors commitments, someone who doesn't quit just because the road bends or the pace slows. When that identity takes root, the actions naturally follow. You begin to show up with purpose because you're not acting from pressure. You're acting from who you know yourself to be. Living like a winner means paying attention to the small things. You keep promises to yourself, even the tiny ones. You handle your responsibilities with care. You treat opportunities as seeds, not shortcuts. You understand that every choice has weight, and each one is a vote for the person you want to become. Winners aren't defined by grand gestures. They're defined by consistency in the small, overlooked moments when no applause is guaranteed. Those quiet choices form the backbone of a winning life. When winning becomes a lifestyle, you develop a relationship with effort that most people avoid. You stop seeing hard work as punishment and start seeing it as a privilege, a way to express your potential and honor your goals. You welcome challenges not because they're comfortable, but because they sharpen you. You recognize that the discomfort you endure today becomes the strength you rely on tomorrow. Instead of drifting through life, you engage with it fully, understanding that the process is just as valuable as the outcome. A lifestyle of winning also transforms your perspective on failure. Instead of interpreting setbacks as personal shortcomings, you treat them as feedback. You learn from them, adjust, and move forward without letting shame tie you to the past. You stop being afraid of mistakes because you understand they're part of growth. Winners aren't flawless, they're adaptable. They don't crumble under pressure, they recalibrate. They don't dwell on what went wrong, they focus on what comes next. And perhaps the most powerful part of living like a winner is the influence it has on the people around you. Your consistency becomes an example. Your resilience becomes encouragement. Your determination becomes a kind of quiet permission for others to aim higher. You create an atmosphere, a possibility, not by preaching, but by living in alignment with your values. Winning as a lifestyle means becoming someone whose presence elevates the room, whose actions speak louder than their ambitions, and whose journey inspires others to rise with them. At the end of the day, everything we talked about comes down to one truth. Winning is not an outcome. It's a choice you make every single day. It's a decision to rise when it would be easier to stay down, to grow when it would be simpler to remain the same, to believe in yourself even when doubt tries to drown out your voice. Victory isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through your habits, your mindset, your discipline, and your willingness to keep moving forward. When you choose to live with purpose, when you choose to commit to the strongest version of yourself, the world eventually steps aside. The path clears. The opportunities open. And the person you become along the way becomes the greatest proof that you were built for this. You don't just chase the win, you become the win. Thank you for giving me the time, your attention, and your presence. Thank you for showing up with an open mind and a willing heart. I hope these words stay with you long after this moment fades, guiding you, grounding you, and reminding you of what you're capable of. Carry your courage with you, trust your journey, and never forget the power of saying every day, every moment, I will win. Thank you and take care.